Eminence. Go throw them knees up in the air.
9, 8, 7. We have a go for main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
It's the SFL Nights it's the SFL Nights with A.J.Striker, with A.J.Striker. It's the SFL Nights it's the SFL Nights with A.J.Striker, with A.J.Striker. Ashley Jackson about the action. SFL news, come and join with interaction. Whatever happens, happens. Yeah, you will leave with satisfaction. Yeah, tell your team and tell your captain. Come and tune in, new episodes weekly. You can tune in from your room in afternoons, and when the moon hits, it's unique. It's the SFL Nights it's the SFL Nights with A.J.Striker, with A.J.Striker. It's the SFL Nights it's the SFL Nights with A.J.Striker, with A.J.Striker. It's the SFL Nights it's the SFL Nights with A.
What is up, SFL Nation, and welcome back to SFL Nights with A.J.Striker. Thank you so much for joining me today or tonight or whenever you decided to hit that play button or turn on that radio dial. I really appreciate it, y'all. If you can't tell by my voice right now, I am under the weather. And hopefully I'll be returning to you guys with my regular show next week, but this show is just dedicated to the interviews. So I welcome Mr. Jon Bond, Mr. Sully Richardson, Mr. Moose Papineau, and Mr. Mark Chisholm to the show. I hope that you will enjoy it. And give me your thoughts in the chat on how you like this show versus the ones I typically post. Welcome back to my fourth and goal interview featuring a very, very good friend of mine, Mr. Mark Chisholm. He is the owner of the Atlanta Swarm. He actually has a player too, Mr. Aquantis Shine. So, you guys are shining, man, for real. This season's been great.
Definitely trying to.
I like you because you're always modest about it, but you know, anybody that's looking at your games, anybody that knows you, you know, they know that you're doing the damn thing. So proud of you.
Appreciate that.
So tell me, what's been new with you, man? I know it's been a while since you've been on the show. Like what's new in real life? I know you had some classes you were taking at one point, things like that.
New in real life. Let's see. Let's see. My mother had a stroke not too long ago. So family, me, boo, my brother Alan been dealing with that. I was in New York January, and I was just in New York 2 weeks ago. Got to go back up there this coming Friday. I'll be up there for another week probably. And then I'm going to bring her back down here with me to Georgia, and she's going to live with me. So that's going to be a change for the fam. She's getting better, you know.
Okay.
Everything is progressing nicely with her. So appreciate it. You know, my team know about it. Obviously the fam know about it, but that's something that I didn't put out there like that to everybody. Let's see what else. Me and the wife are in process finally after 5 years of searching, have found 2 kids to adopt, two brothers.
Beautiful.
We met them for the first time yesterday. So we're gonna get that ball rolling.
Okay.
That's a blessing, beautiful thing, opportunity to bring two more lights into this house and help them shine. Um, so that's really what's been going on with me. Um, the motto that I live by and try to raise my kids with, you know.
Good stuff, man. Well, first of all, I'm glad that your mom's getting better. And I'm glad that she's coming to stay with you because I know that you'll make sure that she's gonna be good. So we'll definitely say a prayer for her continued um wellness. Um,
Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
and I know the last time we talked, I know you were saying that you were planning to adopt, and now that's wonderful that you're actually going to be able to make a positive impact in the lives of two people that need it. So that's beautiful, man. That's
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. So you guys are doing really well, offensively, defensively. I mean, you're showing strength in areas that one at a few seasons ago, you were kind of lacking in. So what do you attribute to that success right now?
Really, it's the defensive side of the ball, bringing Swole on. He's really honed his craft and put that work in, and he's got us buzzing for real. The offense, I really just dialed it back and wanted to make the players that we have on the field shine. So to say, use their strengths to help us do what we need to do to get that W.
Okay. Hey, you doing it. You doing it, man. Do you prefer playing home games or do you prefer playing away games? And I ask that because of there is that kind of like home field advantage kind of thing. Do you even believe in that?
Um, Not really. I'd rather play on the road personally. I like playing in other stadiums. I'm tired of seeing my own stadium, honestly. And I think we play better on the road. Actually, I think our record is better on the road than it is at home overall for our franchise.
Okay, cool, cool. Looks like Bryant Dynasty has been growing in a positive manner with you guys too. I know he was bronze when he came to you guys.
Absolutely. When he came out, yeah, he's gold now. Yeah, he's been growing and he's just been doing his thing and working hard, helping us behind, off the field, on the field. You know what I'm saying? He does all the stuff in our store and he helps Swole with the website and everything. So it's a beautiful thing. And the
Indeed.
man is good at what he does. Definitely good at what he does, on and off the field.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, and see that he's made such an impact for you, as well as Siege Falco. I know that he's your general manager, and I
Yes,
think that
indeed.
these people like Swole and um Bryant and Siege, they all are kind of like the glue that holds everything together for you.
They're,
Would you
they're,
say that?
they're high character people, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I've
Yeah.
tried to bring in and draft and keep around me. And they're willing to learn. And once they see, what I preach and how it comes to fruition, they want nothing but to follow and lead themselves. And that's what they've all done. Siege is an incredible GM. He's always working, trying to figure out the game. He's already, he's our lead for the switch to 2K4, so I gotta back them, with whatever they need, any of them. They ask me for something, we'll sit down, chop it up, and see if it makes sense. And then we can go do this.
Speaking of which, we are switching over to the new game, and I've seen Bryant put up some fantastic work as far as the customizations of the uniforms and the gloves and all of that. So, what are your thoughts about switching over to this new game? And I know it's in my opinion, I'm thinking it's going to be like a temporary thing until we actually find something that suits us perfectly. But for now, this is kind of like the filler. So what do you think about that?
Me personally, not with the Switch. I'm gonna keep it a buck always. That's just who I am. Uh, I mean, it's an older game. I can't see the logic in going to something older just to put some logos on the field. You know what I'm saying? The gameplay is not going to be better than the gameplay that we currently have. You know that, but what I got to do and do the best thing for my franchise. So it is what it is. Me personally, nah. I'm not that I'm against it or anything. I'm just not feeling it. It's not my cup of tea.
I got you. So when you first arrived with to the league, and how long have you been here, by the way? Like since season 3 or 4?
I found the league season 5 championship game, the Dragons and the Gorillas. And I've been hooked ever since. I got drafted in season 6, got my own team in season 8, and here I am now.
Right. So with that, you've seen the league change many times, just like the seasons change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I guess my question is, you have been able to accept and roll with just different changes that have already been made. Do you think that this is something that you'll just have to do until something better comes
You
along?
broke up.
Oh, so do you think? Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, changeover. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna rock with it, support my squad, and keep my. There's 22 other dudes in my locker room. They depend on us. So of course I'm gonna support it and help them out any way possible.
Good. Good. I was worried for a second, but I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm saying I'm here for now. I mean, we'll see how next season go. If it's something that I just can't take and it just don't make sense to me, then it's time to move on. Just that simple. That's part of life, though.
true. That's true. But hopefully you'll stay around. Hopefully you'll be able to continue to make the impact that you have been in this league because it's good having you around, man. That New York style and flair. Speaking of which, why didn't you choose a team to represent New York instead of you being in Atlanta? I know you live in Atlanta, so it makes sense. But like, why didn't you choose a New York team because you're from there?
Well, in the beginning, when I was trying to come up with the idea of my team, I was going to be from New York. I was going to be from Long Island. But since Queen City was already in New York, I said, might as well move around, so the game has more variety. And that's why I chose it. And I lived in Atlanta. So I had a vision before we even actually got started with all the, trying to get sponsorship and all of that and everything. I was like, I'm not in New York right now, so I'm not going to be able to go get sponsorships like that. So I figured I'm here. I might as well make my team from Atlanta.
Okay, like it. So I remember back in the day, maybe I don't say back in the day, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, you gave me some advice on leadership, and you turned me on to this podcast that was absolutely wonderful. I'm still waiting for you to send me those books that you said you was gonna send me, but
I'll bring them to the convention.
all right, that'd be dope. I'd love to have them. But what is the most important aspect of being a leader for you?
For me is, let's see, probably being accountable, accountability, leadership starts with who you see in the mirror every day. If my guys can't, um, see respect in me, how are they gonna find the respect in themselves? You know, they follow me, they believe in me. I gotta be that man every day for them.
I love it. I have some fun questions for you now.
All right, let's get it.
What is your proudest professional achievement?
Proudest professional achievement. Proudest professional. Probably when I got my OR liaison one back when I was working in the hospital in healthcare. Well, that position took over a building, and I was in charge of about 28 different people and 4 or 5 different departments I had under me, and that's probably my biggest professional, boost that I got in my career.
Okay. If you could have a job doing anything in the world, what would it be?
If I could have a job doing anything,
Anything.
probably be teaching leadership. I love leadership that much that if I could teach true leadership every day, I definitely would. And it's trending that way for me because I'm tired of these private companies out here, and this world needs it. It really needs it. It can use it, absolutely.
Okay. Good stuff, man. Well, who in your life inspired you the most?
My grandmother, without a doubt. She is the reason I am who I am today.
If you had $1 million right now in your bank account, what would be the very first thing you spend it on?
Probably a bowl of pho. Facts. Right now, probably a bowl of pho.
Gold flakes and
Go get me
filet
an
mignon.
XL bowl. 18.99. That would be
Okay.
my first purchase right now. Yep.
Okay. If you what was something that you were fearful of as a child, but when you grew up you were okay, what was I scared of? Like what why was I scared of that?
As a child, scared of. I mean, growing up in the 90s in New York, there was like a epidemic of kids being kidnapped by black vans.
Yeah.
So when we would be coming home at night from hanging out, if we saw a black van, we turn and go the other way down the block and take the long way home.
Okay.
We saw a black van, we would be out. We cut
Yeah.
through backyards, whatever we had to do, trying to get back home to avoid that black van.
I understand that. Shoot. Now it's a white van with no window. Yeah. Go the other way. What
Mm-hmm.
what's the greatest television show ever created, in your opinion?
Greatest television show?
Yeah.
Hmm. Greatest TV show. For me, it's probably gonna be a cartoon. That's
Okay.
just helped make me had a childhood. Greatest TV show. I don't know if there's one for me. I mean, 80s cartoons, help mold who I am today, and I love them. I mean, they're all around me right now. Like I just got this.
Says Transformers.
Um, special order from China. It took a year to get here. This was finally got here after a year on order. And that was just one of the cartoons that made sure I got home from school and watched every day.
Hey, nothing wrong with
This
that,
is
man.
actually my backup quarterback. His name Ace Goodhart, who was the leader, who's Black Lion. That was his name.
What was his
no,
name?
that was G-Force. My bad. My backup quarterback's name is Ace Goodhart, but that's not the name that's the leader from G-Force, not Voltron.
Gotcha. Hey, man, I love it. If you were handed a plane ticket right now to go anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
Plane ticket. I don't know. I can go anywhere right now.
Anywhere right now.
I might go to Hawaii, see Dynasty. Never been there. My mother's been there. She said it's beautiful. So I'd like to check it out.
Okay.
But not the touristy part. I need to go to the real. I need to go to the hood. I need to go where the people are. I'm not with the touristy nonsense.
Yeah, everything's overpriced.
Yeah, I need put me on the block. I need to see the cops. I need to see all of that.
Okay. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing in your life, what would it be?
Love. That's all I need. That's all I want. That's all I give. Unlimited supply of love. I'll be straight.
Okay. I like that. What was the first thing you thought about when you woke up this morning?
This morning?
Yeah.
The kids that we probably gonna adopt. After seeing them yesterday, they've been on my mind heavy.
Love it. If you could only eat one meal every day for the rest of your life, I feel like I know the answer to this already, but what would that be?
You already know. You already know. It's going to be breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Love it. So, Mark, if you can have dinner with one person or maybe two people that is either not with us anymore or that's famous or not, who would it be and why?
Probably my grandmother.
Yeah.
Because I just miss her, and I would cherish the opportunity to show her what I've become and what I've accomplished with her guidance.
Love it. I love it. A couple more questions for you. If you were a superhero, what would your name be, and what would your power be?
Superhero name. The hugger. Not just go around hugging people.
Changing lives one time with just a hug.
One hug don't change your life.
I love it. If you had an extra 25 hours in a day, what would you spend that time doing? Let's say if it was 50 hours in one day for us here on Earth, what would you spend half of that time doing?
Probably I'd split it in half and actually get some sleep that I'm supposed to get, and the other half probably with my head in the book, learning, growing.
Okay. If you could be, if extraterrestrials came down right now and asked you to go with them back to their home planet, would you go?
They're already here, yo. He's already here, yo.
Yeah.
Would I go
Yeah.
with them?
Yeah. Like, hey man, come on back with us. We need you to be the hugger in our planet. Would you do
I gotta get to know them first.
it?
I can't just jump the whip. Nah, man, that's not happening. I'm gonna need to know you a little bit. I'm from New York. I don't trust nobody.
Gotcha. Um, if you had a time machine that can go back in time or go forward in time, which one would you choose?
Mm-hmm. Going back, going back. Try to fix where the problems went wrong. Where we living with today.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, everything in life, from discrimination, just why so much hate. It's not necessary, man. Something somewhere went wrong to put that in people's hearts. It, it don't need to be there. You know, we all on this planet together. Can't none of us get off at the present moment and go somewhere else and live. Why not be peaceful with each other? Because we separated by borders, some water, skin color. Come on, man. It's ridiculous.
Good stuff. Last question for you. What has been some of the best advice that you've been given in your life? And then what have been some of the worst advice you've been given?
Um, Best advice from my grandmother. Um, love yourself and love everybody around you. Worst advice? I don't know anybody that's really given me worst advice. I mean, I probably gave myself some bad advice before I knew better. You know what I'm saying?
Like what?
Like go steal something that I probably shouldn't have stole back in the day when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? You don't realize your actions back then, the consequences that come to the people that you hurt. And, you know, hopefully you can pay it forward and, you know, not fix it for them, obviously, but fix it for somebody else and give it back to the universe like that, you know. Just from breaking a window for no reason, not understanding that like that window might have cost those people $200-300 that they might not have had if they were living check to check like I was growing up with my family. So when you break their window, now they got a hole in their window for another month or two trying to get the money to fix that window. And what if it's winter? Or what if they can't get the money to fix it? Or what if they got to cut some meals out of their family's life to fix that window? You know, you don't think about that when you do those actions growing up. And you don't, because it's just because you don't know. You know what I'm saying? No one educated you. You don't have that wisdom yet. But that's probably some advice I gave myself growing up. And that's probably the worst advice. And I would change that.
Okay. Good stuff, man. Okay, I know I lied. I got one more. You walking outside and you got a theme song playing everywhere you go. It's a theme song that plays everywhere you go. And every time somebody hears it, uh-oh, here comes Mark. Here he coming down the street. What is that song?
It's the Locks, Wild Out.
The Locks, Wild Out? Okay.
LOX.
Okay.
Yep.
Good stuff. Good stuff,
that's
man.
The thing. That's when we come through. Whether I'm alone or with my boys, it can be on at any time. Like it ain't nothing with space and opportunity. We don't have to go that route, but it's there. It can turn up that quick. Now that I'm older, I'd rather not go that route. You know, I got a little more sense on my shoulders. So, but at the same time, it can be on if it need to be.
All right. All right. Well, you a effing problem. So, if it needs to be.
I didn't give myself that name. I earned that name. That was given to me. I didn't give myself that name.
Okay.
Look,
Good stuff, man. This was a great conversation. I really enjoy it. I can't wait to have you back on because I got like about
absolutely.
400 other questions that I could ask you too. But I'm gonna save them
Okay.
for the next
Yeah,
time.
we here.
But
Congrats on your season. You're doing great. Eddie, I've seen the growth in Eddie. Um, he's come a long way. Just uh, taking the blinders off. He used to be very right here with it, and now he's just actually turning his head and looking around, and it's paying off for him. And it's from his corner. You definitely can bring a softer side to him and
Mark,
open his
you
eyes to more opportunities. So
hey Mark, you're breaking up
that's
there.
a beautiful thing.
Man, you breaking
So
up and I
y'all
know you
doing good stuff over there.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
you were breaking up. The last thing I heard you say was Eddie finally took the blinders off.
damn, how
Are
you
you-
break that?
I'm sorry. It's just I'm in a hotel right now. We decided to do something a little
All
different.
good.
Can you hear me now?
What was the last thing you said? I can hear you.
Okay, that Eddie finally took the blinders off.
Oh yes, and now he's actually being able to see, things from a wider angle, and I think it's paying off for y'all out there, the franchise people. Proud of 'em. Proud of y'all. Proud of y'all doing good things there.
Proud of y'all too, man. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Before I go, did you have any questions for me?
Um, you coming to the convention? If we have it, I haven't really heard any definite plans or anything, but
Yeah, I plan on being there. The last thing I heard it was going to be in Cincinnati,
damn, you
Ohio.
frozen again.
Oh, man. Okay. Was better?
Okay, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you now. Cincinnati. Okay,
So yeah, I plan on being there.
I've never been there. I've never been, so it's a place to check out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be fun either way. So I'm looking forward to it, taking a nice little vacation kind of thing. But
Okay.
but all right, man. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. Do you have any shout outs that you want to give?
Uh, Shout out the Swarm. There's a lot of guys in that locker room that don't get the credit they should or get the shine they should week to week. Their numbers might not show up on the stat sheet, but their accomplishments are big in our locker room, and I make sure they know it. I appreciate all of them, all the work they do, and being a part of this league, man. Beautiful thing.
It is. It is. Well, man, I thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, you froze again.
You're frozen too.
I'm back. There you go.
But I thank you so much for your time, brother. This has
Oh,
been a really good conversation, and looking forward to talking to you again sometime soon.
absolutely. Good luck the rest of the season. And
Hey,
we get up.
hey, you too, man. Keep the ball rolling. I can't wait to see what you guys do from here on out.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. See you soon. Welcome back to SFL Nights, fourth and goal interviews featuring Mr. Jon Bond. He is the owner and head coach of the Las Vegas Fury. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing much better now. I had like a little vacation, so feeling good, feeling fresh, ready for this next week coming. But it's good having you on. This is your first time on my show, and I really appreciate you for being here. And
thanks for having me. Yeah.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Now, I do want to ask you a few kind of get to know you questions that I ask everybody for their first time, and that is, what is your age? If you want to give us that, that's fine. But if you don't, I understand. Your hometown, one interesting fact about yourself, and your favorite NFL team.
Okay. I just turned 40 a few weeks ago.
Hey, nice.
So that's happening, and I'm excited about the next 10 years. I'm excited. I'm really not even worried about it. And then I'm from hometowns, Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
And but I've lived in Vegas now since 2008, so I've been out here for a minute.
Oh,
and
man.
Then, as far as interest, karaoke. Cam seen me sing. Tony and myself, we go out, we do some songs together. We go out sometimes, so always down to go out and sing.
Hey, I like that.
Thing. Yeah. And then what was the last one?
Your favorite NFL team?
Oh, my favorite NFL team. Well, I grew up in Tennessee, a big Peyton Manning fan, so I followed Peyton Manning's career. But then once he retired, I went 100% in with the Titans. So
okay,
watching, seeing if they can get to the championship, just like I'm trying to do.
Hey, I understand that. I definitely do. It's funny that you mentioned karaoke because I was wondering, what is your favorite song to sing?
Rebel Yell by Billy Idol.
Okay.
I know, right?
So hopefully if you're attending the convention this year, you'll get a chance to sing with us because we're going to find a karaoke place and we're all going to go and we're all going to try.
That sounds good. I'm down.
So how long have you been in the league, Jon?
I think it's been 4 years. It's been 10 seasons, I believe, since so 4.5 now, maybe that's what kind of sneaks up on me. So I joined right after Mexico City won the championship game. That was the first my first SFL experience was watching that on the front page of Twitch.
Wow, man! So 4 years, 8 to 10 seasons. That's been a long time. You've seen the league grow. You've seen the league change since you've been here.
Yep.
What are some significant changes that you've seen take place over the course of you being here?
I would say that the roster sizes, when I started, I think you had 13 players on a team, star players that were actual players. So now every year with the slight increase, it's hard to imagine that back in the day you might not have that second free safety or third cornerback. Right. Or you might only have one tight end, or you might not have a tight end at all. So nowadays everybody's got a little bit of something. How good they are is another question, but before, you were really trying to pick and choose if you wanted to have a third wide receiver even.
True. I entered in season 12 and it was definitely different. Definite difference between that at that point and now. So tell me, did you always want to be in Las Vegas or did you have another destination in mind for your team but just fell upon Las Vegas? Like how did that decision come to be?
When trying to come with the brand, I looked at a lot of things, stadium names, logos available. It was and then I think obviously the option was either Tennessee or Vegas, and since I was living out here and a lot of the guys that play on the team are from Vegas, I felt like it made more sense, and this was more of the the team to represent where I'm at. So
Makes sense. Speaking of Vegas, you guys are number 4 in the standings right now. Would you say that this season, particularly, is one of the best seasons that you've ever had?
I think it's up there. I off the top of my head, I can't remember. There was another season where we ran really hot and were maybe undefeated 4-0. That was 4 or 5 seasons ago, maybe. And then we hit hit a wall. So right now, all things considered, I treat every week like it's going to be a challenge. I think sometimes we stumble over some teams that we should win. We think everyone thinks we should win, and somehow we end up losing. So those are like the stumbling blocks where sometimes you beat the bigger giants. Like, I don't know. Now we've got this Cam definitely pushing the narrative where Kirby's the giant slayer, but I've always looked at. I think teams have always looked at us maybe being able to take on Florida or Baltimore or some other teams and holding close for a minute. But then we play some team that they think wouldn't be a trouble, and some reason we're just so. Well, every week I try to look at it and see, hey, what are we gonna do to win this week? And I'm just hoping we can keep on pushing, because I've hated being that borderline 6-6 on the edge of sliding into the playoffs a lot of times.
Yeah,
and we've had, I think we've had 4 playoff. We made the playoffs 4 times, I believe.
Okay.
So it's not like we can't get there, but then I'd like to be recognized as one of those top 8 teams that is, a playoff team. You think of them as, these guys make the playoffs. Watch out. You got to get through them now to get to have a good season.
Indeed. What has been the most difficult game for you this season so far? Or is that game to come later on in your schedule?
I mean, the most difficult game is easily, you could say, Baltimore. Mm-hmm. It's on the schedule, so you just can't ignore it. Obviously, I think that Vice Ward is always going to be interesting as well. And then, to be fair, going to Arizona, the home game for the rematch is going to be another difficult challenge. So we're not out of the woods yet, but definitely Baltimore is they might lose one game, and I'm hoping that if it's one game they have to lose this regular season, it's to us, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, the one's knocking my pedestal home a little bit.
Always, yeah.
Yeah, well, you did that for us.
Well, I can do it I like to do it to everybody.
Yeah, I still think that you guys put something in your stadium so that we can't win there. You probably did some kind of incantation or something.
Have the light. We have the light guys shining in your eyes, so you throw all those interceptions every time. It seems like you're doing fine all season, and then you play us, and you can't help but throw interceptions everywhere. And you're probably, what is happening?
Clearly, it looks like your team wanted to be on mine or something, because they want to catch all the balls.
Shot Allen, too many practice sessions with Shot Allen on Arizona. He's used to.
True.
He caught 3 of those, so that's pretty good. So.
Yeah, shy. But then y'all stealing players too. You know what I mean? Like, what? Stealing our players? Come on, man. What's going on, John?
I don't know. I just talk to people, and really, I haven't really had any. We had Slim Shady was a great general manager.
Yeah.
Really helped us get on the right track. And then this year, between Justin Reside and then bringing in Hubba Kimbrell has been a really big piece to keeping us going in the right direction. I talk to him all the time, and he's always sending me messages saying, "Hey, I'm talking to these people, and we got this." And so, that's great. He's making all the connections and talking to all the people in the league, and it makes it easier, so I can just worry about coaching and not worrying about having to look for players too, or make sure we have somebody for next season.
When you're working both sides of the ball, the least amount of items that you have on your plate to deal with is the better. Is better for you, so that you can fully concentrate on the task at hand. And so that's important, and it's good that you surround yourself with good pieces and good people. that are doing that for you. I have some fun questions for you. And I have been implementing these questions since the beginning of this season, just trying to keep the show kind of fresh and inviting. So I would like to know if you had a theme song that you could play every time you walk down the street, what would it be and why?
Well, that's an interesting question. In my younger days, I was definitely a fan of the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Are you familiar with that?
Yes. Yes.
So that'd be my younger days. That was definitely some of the intro music I used to always, when I did the wrestling video games and made a character, that was kind of my head is coming down to the Heartbreak Kids music. But no, I like a lot of stuff though. I think that one still might be it. I definitely music of the moment. I'm a big 80s guy, so classic rock and 80s music is always something that's always rocking out to. So,
okay, nice. Would you rather travel to space or would you rather travel to the past?
I already know about the past, so I feel like you said travel to space.
Yes.
Space. I think would be the one I'd go to because it'd be interesting just to see something like that versus in the past we were kind of already seen all that, so there's nothing I'd want to experience maybe. But I'm happy with all the things we have nowadays. So
love it. Would you rather be a detective or a scientist?
Ooh, that's a good question too. I would say a detective. Some of that stuff really, the 1920s noir and like the private eye stuff has always been kind of cool. So I think I'd go with detective.
I actually like playing noir. That's actually a pretty good game to play. Do you have any hidden talents that you want to share with us?
I mean, I think the hidden talent would be that karaoke. Yeah. Singing. I was in a boys choir when I was in Chattanooga, and I got to do some traveling, and been singing most of my life. So I don't think a lot of people expect me to get up on stage and start rocking out.
Okay, I like it. What was one new experience you tried that was completely unknown or uncomfortable to you at the time that you tried it?
I'd have to say, besides karaoke, the first time would be sushi. I used to always go and my friends would get sushi, and then I would always get hibachi or something else off the menu. And then when I finally did try sushi, it became definitely a favorite of mine. But I was very, I think a lot of people can be that way about it. But I'm like, oh, you got to try it. It's actually pretty good.
Okay. I love sushi. I love sushi. Like, especially with the ginger, the pickled ginger, and then the wasabi. Be careful with the wasabi, guys. If you haven't never tried it, if it gets on the roof of your mouth, it's gonna clear your entire sinuses. I'm just telling you. But it's delicious. Is water wet?
Yes.
Is it?
I'm gonna say yes.
All right. There's been some kind of debate on that. Because I'm wondering, like, does the fish know that water is wet? Or is it like us with air? You know? Is water like air to them? You know? If you could hold on one second. Oh, there it is. If you can instantly learn a new talent, what would it be?
Man. A new talent. I'm trying to think of a talent that'd be really. I think if I want to pick up something right away, it would be maybe golf. I'm really bad at it. Every time I try to go, I like miniature golf. I feel like miniature golf game I've got down from years of playing, but when I go to a driving range or something, I'm lucky. My eye-hand coordination sometimes just isn't What are you? I don't know what's going on. But so if there was one talent I'd like to be better at, I'll go golf so I could enjoy that game more.
Okay. If you could meet any historical figure, who would you choose and why?
Historical figure. It'd have to be someone like. I would say. I'm trying to think of something more recent than too far back, but like someone that was like a great perspective on thoughts and thinking. I would think you'd want somebody like that was just coming up with ideas. Man, that's a tough one. I have to circle back to that one. There's just so many. I don't want somebody who could just have a perspective that wasn't just within line of like the thinkings of that time, that was coming up with the new, bringing the new ideas to the future. Would definitely be this person I'd want to be talking to or meet, not just some guy that was the president or some guy that was just there and just doing what everyone else was doing, if that makes sense. But who that is off the top of my head, I'm going to get back to you, and we can reveal that maybe in a second show. I'll think on it.
I'll take that. If time and money were no issue to you, what would you be doing at this moment?
Man, if the time and money weren't an issue, I told myself if I didn't have an issue, I'd be better about taking care of myself a little bit more than I do. The gym and stuff, and just maybe I might be a gym rat actually. If I had the time and the money and didn't have to worry about stuff, spend more time, because I think your health is a very important piece to living life, and so something that we don't put thought into is that type of stuff when time and money and rush and everything else is going on in your life. Health can be kind of put to the side. So I feel like if you didn't have to worry about that stuff, then taking care of yourself so you could enjoy life to the fullest would be the key, I think.
Indeed, I totally agree with you. If you could be guaranteed one thing in life besides money, what would it be?
Guaranteed one thing. I think happiness can be considered different for every person in a broad term. So I would think that one thing would be just making some kind of impact or change to the world to someone else, to something else, making a change that was impactful to the society or something like that would be important.
Okay. If you could add anyone to Mount Rushmore, who would it be and why?
Who would it be? Oh man. I mean, that's just, I've never put myself in a box on one person, but one person. Trying to think of people that have done great stuff that deserve to go up, like a statue or something else. Like that's a big order. I don't know, I'm pretty happy with how it is. So I can't think of someone that would add or subtract, or with everything else going on. I feel like picking one person is just, you just leave it as is, and it needs to be that piece is where it's there for a reason. It doesn't need any reducing or adding.
Gotcha. What is one of your biggest phobias?
Yeah, I guess I'm not. I used to say crowds or something, like, because karaoke, like, not to get back on that, but before that I never sang. Even though I sang in choirs, I would never sing solo or in front of people. So it took a few months at the bars to get to get used to getting up in front of people. Even though I did a little bit of public speaking as a kid in school. But as far as phobias, I don't get. I'm not too frightened of stuff. I guess I don't like. I'm more competitive than I think I am. I don't like to lose. And it really drives me. So I don't think I have any fears besides letting myself down or letting others down, maybe. But I don't know if that's a fear as much as something that does bother me.
Okay. Couple more questions for you. If you could have dinner with anyone that's either alive or not with us anymore, that's famous or not famous, who would it be and why?
Man, that's a good question too. Out of all the people you could have food with, man, I would say Weird Al, and just Weird Al Yankovic is someone that always enjoyed his music and his. I went to his concert last year. Finally, I think it'd be an interesting conversation to have somebody like that. It'd be fun and a good time.
Okay, good deal. You're the very first person that ever said that, so that's fun. Last question for you. What was some of the best advice that you were ever given? And then what was some of the worst advice that you were ever given? At least one thing from each.
Some of the best advice is definitely, I think, to put yourself first and not let other people like I think that I don't know exact quotes or exact statements, but definitely look out for yourself and your family always, like, first above other things, above work, and other things that can get in the way. And worst advice, I don't know. Probably put it all in black. I haven't lost too much money over the years, but yeah, gambling every once in a while for fun is okay. But yeah, I'm glad that not a regular person feeding those machines $100 bills.
Ooh, honey,
it's scary. I don't know how they do it.
Me either. Last time I went to Vegas, I bet $5 on a blackjack table. I won like about $20 and then lost everything on the next hand. I'm done. I'm not doing that. I work too hard for the money that I make. But this was a great conversation, Jon. You can come back on any time that you want. I'm really, really, really glad to have you on. But before I let you go, two things. Do you have a question? Any questions for me?
No, not right now. Just, I can't think of anything that I don't already know how you would answer. Okay. And I think, so no, not really questions off the top of my head.
Okay.
Just living life one week at a time and just enjoying things. Okay. What's next? What's next?
Next is you could either, I'm gonna have to let you go, but I cannot let you go without giving you the last word. So that could be a song. You can sing a song. You can recite a poem, or you can just give a simple shout out. But right now, Jon, the floor is yours.
No, I just want to give a shout out to, if I had to give a shout out to anybody, this being an SFL show, I have to give a shout out to Doug Britton and Scott Johnson, because those guys, their scouting over the last few seasons really elevated our ability to come up with wins. So the work they put in, simming on the Xbox and making changes to the playbook is one thing. Their ability to scout offenses and defenses, it's been an instrumental part. And without them, I don't think we'd be where we are today. So I got to shout out those guys.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Jon. Cannot wait to see what you do on the field. Can't wait to see where you guys land at the end of the season.
All right. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Anytime. See you soon. Bye. Welcome back to my Fourth and Goal interview featuring another good friend of mine that unfortunately this is my first time having him on the show out all the years that we've been knowing each other. It's crazy. Mr. Moose Papineau, he is the free safety for the Atlanta Swarm. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Just on a little
Yes.
on vacation, kind of relaxed.
looks like a much better scene than what I'm sitting in right now.
Hey, well, come on down to Arizona. We got you. We'll take care.
Hey, it's better than the weather here, that's for sure.
Yeah. Matter of fact, tell us, what is your age, your hometown, your interesting fact about yourself, and your favorite.
I am. Go ahead.
And your favorite NFL team.
My favorite NFL team. Well, I think this will all give itself away right away. I live in Rhode Island. I'm
Okay.
48 years old and a lifelong Patriots fan, of course.
Yeah. I figured.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's back to reality now. I mean, growing up, we were terrible, so now it seems like we're back on that trend. Fun fact about myself: love cars. I own a Corvette. I am a news editor for a local Corvette club here in the state of Rhode Island, and that's what me and the wife do all summer long, is just cruise around in the Corvette.
Oh, must be nice.
It'd be nice when the snow goes away.
Right? So you can really enjoy it and let the top back and everything.
Yeah, get it out of the garage for once.
Okay, I can only imagine, dear. But Moose, when did you actually enter the league? And how'd you find it?
Season 14, I entered the league. I found it on watching it on cable. I watched it on Verizon, saw a game on there, and I said, it just intrigued me right away, seeing the gameplay on TV, and then the announcers announcing it. I was like, I got to get in on this. This looks amazing. So season 14, which of course you probably know is the year the ATL brought it home. So that was my rookie season. I started off as a tight end 2 behind Jamal Wooding. Signed in, I believe, week 2 or 3. And Blake Chance, our free safety, ended up retiring. And I decided I wanted to move into the free safety position.
Okay. So how did it feel to get picked up by Atlanta? Did you, when you were watching, when you actually found the SFL, were you keeping up with the games at that point? And then when you said, hey, I want to be a part of Atlanta, if they ever asked, or did you have another team that you thought you may have been joining, or how did that go?
I was actually pretty wide open on who I wanted to join. I watched the team. I think Florida was pretty dominant when I started watching at the time, but and I think they were playing the Tyrants. I think that was the first game I saw, and it didn't really matter what team I was on. I wanted to get into the Discord, really learn about the league, but by chance, Mr. Chisholm was the first one to reach out to me in the Discord, so that went a long way with me. He reached out and welcomed me to the league, and as soon as I told him, I said, as soon as a position opens up on the Swarm, let me know. I'd be interested in coming. And I saw a post saying that they were looking for a tight end too.
I was almost your teammate. I was almost there 2 seasons prior.
Really?
Yeah, I was actually going to be Mark was telling me that I was probably going to be a tight end for you guys.
We all start as tight ends, it seems like then, huh?
Right. But the funny thing is, I actually started as a wide receiver. I wanted to either be a wide receiver or a defensive end. And I got picked up by Tulsa as a quarterback. And we surprised everybody season 12. Because no one was expecting, me to go as quarterback. But if Dion didn't swipe me up, I probably would have been over there in Atlanta. So
that would have been cool. That would have been cool for sure.
Yeah.
I was looking to be a tight end or a defensive end. That's what I played growing up. So that's what I was most familiar with. But just the opportunity to become a full-time player on the Swarm. I mean, the locker room's great. I enjoy the guys. So it was a no-brainer. He said, are you sure you want to be a free safety? You can't change it after that. I said, yeah, I'm sure.
Hey, looks like you made the right choice. You're definitely effective. You know. So what is it like being an Atlanta Swarm member? Like, what's it like in your locker room?
Life in the locker room, everybody's 100% supportive of each other. Even if we have a bad game, you get in that Discord, you never hear anybody blaming anybody else. It's really just, hey, on with the next one. Every guy in there is super supportive of each other, and that's why I love the. I don't. I say it now. I would never go anywhere else, but I mean that's how I truly feel. The Swarm is definitely a family organization, and it shows from the top down.
I get that. Talking to Mark earlier in the podcast, you definitely get that feeling, that he is a great leader. He is a great coach, and he does, he does do everything that he can to make sure you guys are in good positions to do what you got to do. So
Yeah, he puts the work in for sure.
Definitely, and you guys are undefeated now. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's a great turnaround from last year. I think last year we put up 6 wins total, but we all knew we were coming to what we are this year. We felt the build coming. We knew things were coming right. Siege has been doing a great job with the progressions and putting the team together. Now we have Swole running defense. I think probably gives a little more time to Mark. And I think the pedigree between the two of them shows that they both know what they're doing. That's for sure. And it's come along great. I don't think let's be honest. I don't think anybody's looking at an undefeated season, and I don't think anybody in the locker rooms even ever talked about it. But we just want to get in the playoffs and do our damage there when we get in. We just missed last year, I think, by 1 game. So we were a little disappointed in that. We knew we had more to prove, and we're just going to come into this year and prove it that we belong there, and we're going to do some damage.
Indeed, and that you have been doing. What has been your favorite game so far this season that Atlanta has played, or is that game to come down? Is that game like in the future for like the next few weeks?
Well, I think it's well known that we look forward to the Revolution game. It's a tough team for us. We it doesn't matter how good we are, how bad we are. That is always a brawl. As far as a favorite game this year, man, it's really tough to put one on there. We've had some battles. The defense has played really well this year. Last game was great. I mean, unbelievable. Don Fletcher was just everywhere on the field. I swear there was 11 Don Fletchers on the field last night. It was incredible. Blocking punts, picking off balls, making every tackle. I was just going to go walk on the sideline and sit down and watch him play because I didn't think I even needed to be out there at that point.
Yeah, you definitely superseded expectations against LA. And actually, in every game that you guys have been in, you pretty much dominated, So it is a true testament to the coaching abilities that you guys have, to the scouts. Everybody's been working overtime, and it shows on the field.
Yeah, I think what's really special about the team is there's not one side of the ball that dominates over the other. The offense and the defense are very competitive on both sides of the ball. There's not one player that you look to if they have a bad game that we're going to falter. It's a pretty even keel team where anybody can step up at any time. I mean, the team has a lot of veterans on it, and even the younger guys that are on the team act like veterans. So it's easy to see it when you see it on game day that everybody's there to play and everybody's there to have a good time.
Okay. And you can see that even in the game day chats, guys represent very well, with each other. So I think I see pretty much the entire team out there every time. So that's really good. A few fun questions for you. So if you could have dinner with anyone that's either living or not living with us anymore, they can be famous or not famous, who would that be and why?
That is a tough question. Living or not living? Anybody in the world? That is tough. Um, you know, I would love to sit just purely out of fun. I would love to sit down with Mark and Eddie because those guys. I'm telling you, I watch Eddie's podcast. I watch your podcast, and it's super entertaining. And I know Eddie and Mark are really good friends, and I love their banter between the two of them. I'd love to sit down, even if I was just sitting at a table next to them, just hear the conversation that those two guys would have with each other. It would be fantastic. But yeah, that's on the SFL side. I think I think in the world, I would love to sit down with a high politician in the White House and really figure out what the hell they're thinking and what's going on. I would love to just know what their actual thoughts are and how we could change things on our level.
Okay. Speaking of which, if you were running for an office, what would your campaign slogan be?
I would say, see, I'm not an outspoken guy. I don't know. You see me you never see me in general chat. I'm always in general chat looking at things. I'm not a very outspoken person. In the locker room, I chat a lot, but I would maybe that is damn, Ashley, you're good at this. I'm telling you. I would say soft spoken with a big hammer is maybe my slogan.
Okay. Soft spoken with a big hammer. I bet you people remember that going to the polls. So, what was the first thing that you thought about this morning when you woke
Oh, about how I was actually preparing for. We have a snowstorm coming tomorrow. That was the first thing I thought of when I woke up. So I was preparing to, make sure the plow trucks were ready, make sure everything was ready to go. I live on a very high hill, so my driveway is a very steep incline. So getting up and down my driveway is pretty much a chore. So yeah, believe it or not, that's what I thought of right away. Sad.
You know what? Don't worry about it. We'll send some sunshine your way, from Arizona. Nice warm weather.
I would appreciate it.
So, what is one thing on the very top of your bucket list?
Go to Germany and drive on the Nürburgring racetrack.
Oh,
that is my number one bucket list.
Okay.
I enjoy racing. It's one of my favorite tracks in the world. I race it on a simulator a lot, and I know that track like the back of my hand. So I think so. I would like to take my crack at it for sure.
Okay, well, I hope you get that. And if you ever do, make sure you have the GoPro camcorder on your head so we can see you actually driving. That'd be dope. I would love to see that.
Definitely.
What is something that you're really proud of accomplishing in your life?
My kids.
Yeah.
It's probably my biggest accomplishment, thing I'm most proud of. I have two kids. My son's 24. He used to play in the SFL. He retired. He played for the Denver Nightwings. We both have championships to our name. Very proud of him. Very proud of my daughter as well. She just graduated college. She's 22, and she works for Boston Children's Hospital. So yeah, very proud of them.
Nice. You you raised some good people. That's really good.
Very fortunate.
Mm-hmm. Do you speak any languages besides English?
No, I wish I did.
Okay.
I've always wanted to learn Spanish, especially.
Okay.
But yeah, I've never learned it, and I'd like to.
All right. Name 3 things that you and your partner have in common. Your wife.
I'm sorry, you cut out there.
Okay, I'm sorry. Name 3 things that you and your wife have in common.
We both hate drama. That's the number one thing. We both like to enjoy ourselves and go out for a nice cruise on a nice day, and we both like the beach.
Love it. Love it. What would you like to be known for or remembered for in your lifetime?
Number one is just a good father and a good husband, and someone that was always willing to help out for someone that was in need.
Very noble. I love it. I love it. If you could be a part of any fictional family, like television family, anything like that, who would it be and why?
Wow. Oh, fictional family. Who would it be and why?
I mean, it could be The Simpsons. It could be.
That was running up there. I was like, I don't know if I could handle all that though. Oh man, The Simpsons. Let's throw it back a little bit. I'd like this is gonna go way back. Red Fox.
Oh yes, I love Red Fox.
I loved that show when I was young. It was just a funny household to me. See, I like to keep things light in the house, so to me that would be pretty fun.
Yes, the way he and Lamont would go back and forth, and
You
Aunt
big dummy.
Esther. Oh my god, oh my goodness, crazy. Good stuff, man. If you could teach a class on one thing, what would it be?
If I could teach a class on one thing, well, it's funny. It's going to be how to just generally fix things with your hands. I was an auto mechanic for a long time. It seems like a lot of people go away from the trades now.
True.
They don't. A lot of people just don't know how to fix simple things. I think the ability to use your hands and to fix just common things that you wouldn't have to call in somebody to repair. Just how to work with your hands.
Right. Because it may be a situation to where you may have to go back to that, And what would you know? Like if you had to go build a fire out there right now, would you be able to?
Yeah, you pull up YouTube.
Right. So if you could say one thing to the entire world, everybody in the world can hear you say this one thing to them, what would it be?
Be kind. Think about the person next to you. Simple as that. Have respect for one another.
Okay. If you could be, if there was a movie being made about your life, who would you want to play you?
Oh my gosh. Who would I want to play me? Wow. Those poor guys, whoever that would be. I apologize in advance. I mean, it seems like it seems like the same person plays everything nowadays, but
True.
yeah, we'll shoot high. We'll go for like DiCaprio or something. Why not?
There you go.
Bring it to another level.
That's
Dude
exactly.
nails it. Why not?
I love it. You are stranded on a deserted island, and you only have 3 things with you. What are they and why?
My wife, food and water.
Okay.
Easy as that.
All right.
I heard. You go wrong there.
You would be amazed at what I've heard. I mean, generators, laptops, the game.
Yeah, but if you got the wife, you got the companionship. If you got food and water, you're not going to die. So that's all you
need. That's a good point. I wonder if they thought about that. Probably. If you were handed a plane ticket to go anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?
Right now would be Hawaii. Never been. Love to go. I would love to go there and check it out. It's
funny because your owner said the exact same thing.
Really?
Yeah, you said you want to go see Bryant.
Sounds like a team flight. I don't know. Maybe you can make that happen.
Well, Mark is rich, so I'm sure he'll buy plane tickets for him.
Oh yeah, he was just talking about how he's going to fly us all out there.
There you go. Tell him that Ashley said that it's that you guys are owed this trip. Y'all all fly to Hawaii.
We get on that Scorpion's private jet. We'll go out there.
Yeah, there you go. So if you're sailing around the world, what is the name of your boat?
What is the name of my boat?
Yeah. I got 2 more questions for you after that.
Yeah, no worries. Got a boat, Ashley? Come on, I didn't even talk about driving all this time. Now you're telling me I got a boat.
You got to change it up.
I guess so. Blessed, because if I had a boat, man, something's got to be going right.
I hear that. I hear that. If you could choose to be one age for the rest of your for forever, not even for the rest of your life, forever, what age would that be and why?
40.
Okay. Really?
Good health at 40. Yeah, pretty good health at 40. You know, you've seen a lot. You've seen a lot of life. You had a lot of experience at that point. You get enough to get by the rest of your life. 40 is a good age for me.
Okay.
So I just have to rewind it back 8 years. That'd be too bad.
There you go. If
No.
I'm trying to decide because I really want to ask a few more, but I don't know how you are on time. But
I'm plenty of time.
okay. If you had if time and money were no issue for you, what would you be doing at this moment?
You know, time and money. I would say I would probably just road trip the United States. Take the car, just go out in the open road, check out everything that's the beauties of this country. There's a lot of it I haven't seen, and I'd love to do it driving a little bit at a time. That would definitely what I would do.
Okay. Good stuff. What is the weirdest food that you've ever eaten in your life?
You know, I haven't eaten something too weird. Maybe alligator. Maybe alligator is probably the weirdest thing.
Okay.
And it wasn't bad. As the saying goes, tastes like chicken. And it really did taste like chicken.
It does. Just that's child's play. Come on down and eat some scorpions with me. I'm not sure if you saw my video where I was eating.
Hey, do we play each other this year? I'll be eating scorpions that day.
I don't think we're on the schedule. We'll probably see each other in the playoffs, but
I hope so.
Yeah, scorpions are actually pretty good. They really don't have a taste, but you know.
You really had scorpions?
Yeah, I had a scorpion lollipop.
Why?
Because I wanted to see what it tastes like.
I guess that's crazy.
What is one piece of advice that you wish you would have gotten sooner?
Probably to take my career more seriously at an earlier age. I think when I was young, you know, you don't think of that kind of thing. Setting your career paths a little clearer. Thankfully, I straightened that out a little bit later in life, but yeah, I would say focus on your career.
Okay. Last question for you. What is something that you think is totally overrated?
Totally overrated.
Mm-hmm. And why?
Well, of course, that was coming. Wow. I don't know if I've ever thought of that question before. I think overrated. I think I'm trying to think of how to say it. trying to push yourself to a higher level that you don't really need to be at. I think it's overrated that, with today and social media and everything, everybody wanting to be recognized and put yourself out there is almost like you want to be some kind of influencer that maybe you're not. Like, don't just be you and stay in your lane. I think it's overrated where people are just trying to do things that are kind of crazy and not who they actually are.
And do
just
too
be
much.
true to yourself.
I agree. I definitely agree. Well, Moose, this was a fantastic conversation, and I'm really glad to have you on. I hope that you have fun. But before I let you go, two things. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. How long have you had your show for?
I started my show December 28th of 2018. So I have 200, and this is going to be the 257th podcast.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a great show. It's got a great vibe to it, and you're good at what you do.
Appreciate it, dear. Thank you. That means a lot.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to do, I don't know if I ever told this story. I probably have. But the reason that I even started this show to begin with was because the original SFL podcast that they had, they were not allowing guests on the show. And I get it. They just wanted to kind of have it for them and things of that nature. But I asked to be on the show one day, and they was like, well, no, we're not having guests. And so I decided at that moment that I wanted to create something that would allow people, everybody, to come on. It didn't matter what position you held within the community or within your team, but I wanted to hear it from everybody. And it kind of grew into like showcasing the community for what it is. And I've even heard from people that watch the show that like, hey, I'm going to join this community just because all you guys seem like you're cool, Yeah,
and it's a great thing that you do, and to see people, put a face behind the player.
Yeah,
get to know everybody a little bit more, and I enjoy the podcast, and it seems like more and more people are putting more podcasts and content together for the SFL, and it's great to see the diversity and the type of shows that they have.
Exactly, and that is what we need. It's good to have those fillers. We have Monday games, but that Tuesday through Thursday and through Friday, that's a long time to be without any games. So
it definitely is, and it keeps the community engaged. And I think you can agree the SFL is, just in the short time I've been here 6 seasons, and it seemed like it's grown exponentially just in that amount of time. It's great to see.
Indeed.
It's a good community.
Yes, it is. It is. Did you have any other questions for me?
I don't. No, that was my only question. I was just curious.
No worries. Don't worry. I'll have it back on so you can have a whole plethora of questions for me, and then I'll have a whole plethora of questions for you that are new. So kind of pick your brain a little bit, but I can't let you go without giving you the last word. So that can be a song, that can be a poem, but that can be just a simple shout out. Right now, Moose, floor is yours.
I'll say one thing. A single sting from a hornet can hurt. The whole swarm is deadly.
Murder Hornets unite. Sorry.
Murder Hornets, season 20.
Who came up with the Murder Hornets?
I think I did, actually, believe it or not. It was when that whole Murder Hornet thing was huge, like, what, two years ago? I was just like, why not?
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys definitely have been putting the sting on a lot of teams. So
long way to go.
Right. That's true.
Long way to go. I've been in the league long enough where and you can have a good season and it can all fall apart. So we're not looking to go undefeated. If it happens, it happens. But we're just hoping to get to that big dance again and give Atlanta a championship they deserve.
All right, you're gonna have to get through us first, but we'll see.
Yeah, can't wait.
All right, Moose. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
I appreciate you.
Anytime. Have a good one.
You as well.
Welcome back to SFL Nights with A.J.Striker, 4th and Goal. Interviews with a good friend of mine, Mr. Sully Richardson. He is the quarterback. He is also the defensive coach and owner, one of the owners of the LA Lycans. And first of all, brother, I'm so glad to see you again. It has been a while. Thank you for being on.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Before we get into the SFL things, I want to know what's been going on with you, man. How's life? How's your family? How's everything going with
Um, life is it's good. I'm on this side of the ground instead of being underneath. You know what I'm saying? So that's a plus. My children are getting bigger, smart mouths and all that.
you?
Like, you know what I'm saying? 3 daughters or whatnot. So if you see the grays, that's where it came from. So, it's just been working and trying to stay positive.
Yeah, I get that, man. I get that. You know, moving on to the season that you guys have, I've watched many shows. I've looked at Twitter. I've seen different things that are happening. And, I kind of want to address some of those things tonight and even just offer some words of encouragement and empowerment for you guys. Because I know it can be a little difficult. We've been through those, trials and tribulations where we only won like 4 games, make the playoffs and then you miss it, you know what I mean? So it happens. But tell me, Sully, what is, from your perspective, what is going on over in LA? Because you can hear all these pundits, you can hear everybody else's renditions about what they think is going on, but I want to hear from the source. What changed?
To be honest with you, like, I guess if you were a fly on the wall, like, because, speaking in Discord servers and whatnot, I feel like some teams have it, like, they have more knowledge when it comes to game planning and whatnot than others. Like I do believe that, like, me and offensive coordinator Ryan Joseph, we work together. We work together a lot in the off season. Trying to we went with his game plan because he has a vision, or he had a vision. He still has a vision, and that vision. I mean, the very first game we went into that game with his vision. I had like over 400 yards passing. But we came out on the losing end against Louisiana. And then, it slowly, like, week after week, I say it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Because, like, when we're running our sims, we make sure we try to make sure to the best of our abilities that the opposing defenses that our offense is running against is as accurate as can be. I mean, we have fun, but we don't BS around. Like, I don't think that it's like, covering your eyes and throwing a dart, putting plays on the dartboard and just throwing a dart at there and saying, like, oh, okay, we're going to pick this play or that play. Like, I don't believe. I say, like, probably the only difference this season is our running back. He's like one of the, if not the most highest paid running back in the league. And in our sims, he runs like that, but in game day he doesn't. And just like similar to, of course, I've a lot of QBs in the SFL throw a lot of interceptions. It's just always been like that. It's rare that you have someone who has a higher, like more touchdowns than interceptions. But like to actually, watch the Sims and watch your practices and whatnot, and you see the ball is moving along well and whatnot, and then you go in the game, it's totally different. Like we're just trying to put our finger. We're trying to figure out what's going on.
Got it.
Like what I'm saying, what can we do to minimize the mistakes and maximize, taking advantage of the other team's mistakes if they make it and whatnot. So I don't know. It's an ongoing thing. I can't pinpoint it. Like the vision is I think it's a good vision. I think Joseph has a really good vision.
Mm-hmm.
Like in theory, it's a really good vision. But if I say that and other people like look at it, they'll be like, dang, that's like we look like trash. But I can honestly say is not. I don't think that is Joseph's fault. Like we putting in the time. It's just not. It's not. We just look like like somebody broke glass. Like it's a black cat walking across us. We done walked underneath a ladder. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just bad luck, man. That's what it seemed like. It's just bad luck.
I mean, I watched this game tonight with you guys versus Atlanta, and there were a series of unfortunate events that did occur during the game. From the blocked field goals to um dropped just simply drop passes.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately there's nothing that you can do to kind of counteract that. We get that.
Yeah.
But I think my main concern for you and your ball club is how are you mentally? Like, how is this affecting the locker room? And how is this affecting you specifically? I mean, if Rochelle was on, if if Ryan Yosef was on, I would ask them the exact same questions because it's like you can see everybody in the chat talking. You can hear again, like all the different podcasts and all of these people having so many thoughts and opinions about it. But how are you feeling trying to get this to work and being kind of embarrassed that it's not?
I'm me personally because I'm trying to separate reality from this, and that's the thing. Like I think I put a little bit too much of my real life into I put the emotions of my real life into this, and so last week because for instance, like some of the stuff that I because I run the social medias,
Yeah.
on for the Likings, and also you'll see somebody get tagged. That's like my player page, and like when I in the post last week when I said we welcome Atlanta to a crumbling full moon Coliseum. In game, the Coliseum is literally crumbling. It's like went into the end zone, like you got broken seats and all that crap. So that's why I had put that in there. But at the same time, of course, we get emotional. Like we're humans, you know what I'm saying? Like I got mad and I vented because it's funny, man. It's funny because that's why I say like you get mad because you put the plays in. Some teams have figured this out. You know what I'm saying? In a short amount of time. For instance, I think like Minnesota, they figured it out in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Like freaking, of course, Baltimore figured it out. It took my former team, Carolina, like years to figure it out. And it seemed like they're figuring it out now because like they got a good support system. Also, y'all didn't figure it out. Y'all didn't figure it out. And even though y'all, got the one loss, they still didn't, of course, like y'all gonna keep on trucking, you know what I'm saying? So my whole thing was like you can't hold it in. You can't hold it in. So I let it go. I let it loose. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to quit. Like I just wanted to be, done with it or whatnot. I understand that there's a lot of people who are excited for season 21 because of the capabilities, the pros and cons as opposed to the game that we're on now. I'm trying to think my train of thought. So like, yeah, I had to let it out. I went ahead, let it out, you know what I'm saying? And then when I stepped away from it, got back to it because I think the locker room, of course, like I said in my locker room, I was like, I know that there's gonna be people who probably won't come back. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a pretty low turnover when it comes to our people coming back. You know what I'm saying? We retain, I think probably the most people we lost at one point was 3, maybe.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
But like, huh?
I said that's a blessing in itself. Just 3? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So like I had just said, I mean, through hard times in real life, I say in real life, like you gonna see. Like I always have that a saying, like if you're in your hospital bed and when you wake up or whatever, your loved ones, the people who really down for you, that's gonna be the people who's gonna be around your bed. That's gonna be there for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that the locker room, like they see our potential. They want us to win. My thing is like I feel bad for them because these are paying customers. You know what I'm saying? These are paying customers and you want to give them a great product.
Right.
I think we have I think the Lycans have a great branding. I think that we have a great group of people. It's just we want to put something on the table for everybody to enjoy. And I don't think that that's being done this season. So of course I'm gonna be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course I'm gonna be a little bit hurt or whatnot. But I think I'm in a better headspace than I was last week. Now, did it suck that we lost in the fashion that we did? Yeah, because it was like the same old sad song or whatnot. But you gotta keep on living, man. That's the thing. So I just look at it as just keep it moving.
Indeed. And the thing is, I think people have to also realize how much time it takes for you guys to try to, put together the playbooks, how much effort and how much heart you try to put in, because you're right. You have 23 other people that you got to try to satisfy, including yourself, including your owners, your fellow owners, and your fellow coaches and things like that. So it is difficult when you're going through times where things aren't going the way that they should. I think, like you said, the people that stay in the end will be the ones that have always cared and do understand that you're going to have your bad times. You're going to have your moments of despair or moments of just like, I can't figure it out. Now, if you're willing to come help, then cool. That if you see something that you're not seeing, like I think Alamo City has like 5 people scouting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they all get together and they talk about it. I mean, I hope any and everybody that's on your team that's listening that can help or can have some valuable input will. But I think it would make your team stronger in the end because when you do go through those times where stuff ain't working, and then you have those times where you make the playoffs and you're doing real good. You have the balance of both worlds. It's like teams like Baltimore, they are successful. They've won the championship, 4 times. They've done this, But my question always was, and they've actually answered this for me too. If things go array, would they stay? Would the people that are there stay? So this is a make or break moment for all of you. This is going to tell you who's really down for you and who's not. And the ones that are down, you give them the most respect, you give them the most heart. And if somebody wanted to say bye, then hey, it is what it is, you know? But that core that you have a great team. You got great minds on the coaching side. It's just about figuring out what works, you know? Nothing wrong with it, man. I know it's hard when you're searching for that first one. I know it is. And reading your Twitter message kind of broke my heart because I know what it's like. I don't run Sims. I watch Eddie at times run Sims, but I don't run Sims.
Yeah.
And I saw the look of despair that he would have sometimes when things didn't work out. So I know what you're going through, man. But I just want to tell you and your whole crew, don't give up. Just have fun as much as you can and try to figure out a better way. And we are going to this new game. So it'll be interesting when every coach is on a level playing field, when every coach has to kind of learn this all over again. You know, see who will come out victorious. Speaking of which, how do you feel about us going to the new game? I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but like, how do you feel about the customizations you can do, the fact we can add sponsorships, you know, and even just switching over?
Well, like I talked about it in previous podcasts or whatnot. That was the very reason why, because me and Harish, we both like at the same time, like rebranded at the same time, because that was the goal. It was like, we're gonna be all in with Karen Vision, and so we were just, let's have like two of the most badass freaking logos in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why we did that, because we knew that I didn't know that we were gonna go, you know, to back, but like, you know, at like to like 4 years to a 4-year-old game. But like it grew on me when I was, you know, I started watching some YouTube. I forgot who it was, but it's this YouTuber. He was, when they were going through the previous NFL season, like they showcased some of the games that passed by. And it looked real good to me, you know what I'm saying? So like I was like, okay, it grew on me. I know this is what I say. I was like, if we're gonna go backwards, I know that eventually that we're gonna go next gen, which is forward. I don't know how that would look. You already know people frown down about to me when I say maximum football.
Yeah.
Like it blew my socks off. Like I ain't see it yet, you know what I'm saying? But I'm ready to play it. But like I said, who knows what's gonna come out in the future or whatnot. So I think it's a good ideal. Like I'm cool with. I've been working with Ramen, you know, trying to customize our stadium and like trying to figure out how to do alternative uniforms. I really do like the aspect of like you can send people in motion, you know, like the plays. I don't think the plays are as stiff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot more that you can do with the game that we're going to as opposed to what we're at right now. And it's nothing that you can do. Like everything that has been done to APF, that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, unless some genius comes and say, hey, I found a new way to do this, that, and the other. that's the only way, but I don't see that happening. So I'm cool. Like, I'm very supportive of it now. Like you said, like everybody will be on an even playing field, and once we get more information as far as coaching and stuff like that, I think I feel more comfortable. So I'm excited.
And I'm glad to hear that. You know, there's some people that were very adamant about not giving it a shot. You know, some people saying it's taking the scouting out of the game, it's taking the coaching out of it, things of that nature. But um, I talked to Cam, and there are you will still if you choose to scout, if you choose to still have your um scouts and things like that, coaching abilities, you'll still be able to do it. It's just going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with being different, you know. Like when I first met you, your hairs on your chin was a lot darker than they are now. I think you said that was from children. I think it's half of that is from children. The other half is from the SFL. Shoot, I got some in here too. So, but I think it's going to be a good look. It's going to be a good thing, and it may not be the best right now, but this is something that we can do to grow the league, because if you're interested in getting your own team and expanding to 32 teams, guess what? You won't be able to do it with 2K8. You know?
Yeah, no doubt.
There's nothing they can do.
The other thing is, like, I feel like as long as they don't rush, they take their time.
Yeah.
And they're meticulous about how they go about this whole thing, then I believe everything will work out, whatnot, because it's good right now to figure out the pros and cons of the game before the start of season, 21 or whatnot. That way you don't get caught by surprise,
Exactly.
So,
and I don't think Cam is going to put his name or his brand on anything that's not going to work, period. This is his livelihood. This is how he makes his money. So if this is going to affect, he better believe he'll pull that plug. But yeah, I think it should give it a shot. Speaking of your logo, man, your friend made your logo, right?
Yeah, my boy, I call him Tonto, but his company is Black Tiger Art. So yeah, he had made that for me.
Bomb. Like, you can see the detail, you can see the strength, and, the werewolf, you can see the fierceness of it. He was really talented, with the pen on that.
Yeah.
So kudos and shout out to him.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. The dude, like, he really, I know him for a long time. He started out as my enemy before my friend. You know what I'm saying? So like dude is brilliant. You can tell he got God-given talent. So that's why I was like, man, like we gotta go with him when it comes to this rebranding. He came out, and it's not over.
Okay.
Season 21, we should have 2 or 3 additional things to add to our collection.
Okay.
So
I'm looking forward to seeing what y'all got.
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I got some different questions that I wanted to ask, because you've been on my show a few times. So I don't want to be redundant when I'm asking, but I also want to, you to put your thinking cap on for some of these, okay?
All right.
So what is something that you've always wanted to do but haven't done as of yet? And this is real life.
Shoot. Man, I always wanted, like, to travel. Like, I wanted to travel. I know it's probably risky or whatnot, but like, it's weird, but I wanted to travel to places, like, to look at famous monuments, like going to, like, Russia or like Africa, just going to like these different historic places because I'm like big on like, you know, history and whatnot. So I just wanted to, you know, travel. At one point I wanted to be, it's weird, but like at one point I wanted to be when I was in school, like maybe an archaeologist or something. I don't know. But like I just love history. So I like to you know, read up on things or events and whatnot. So just traveling to different countries and going to like different sites and whatnot. That's what I want to do.
So this kind of ties into my next question then. So if you had a time machine, would you go backwards in history or would you go forward to the future?
I go backwards.
Why?
I, I don't know because it's a lot of things like, you know, you only have like a snapshot. Like some things like that are written in books or whatnot are incomplete or fabricated. Um, so like for instance, I did like when I was in college, I did a paper on the Seminole tribe, which
Okay.
the Seminole tribe was the only unconquered Native American tribe in the United States. Like they didn't, you know, surrender to the United States government. And so of course that's my favorite football team too, the Florida State Seminoles. So like I just like to, do research or just see what was going on with that. There's also things I'm finding out like uh, I didn't know there was black Mexicans.
Hmm. There's Black Asians.
You know, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so just seeing just seeing things like that, man, like just to experience and like, you know, different cultures and different history. I like to go back to the past and see, you know, what was going on.
Good stuff. Good stuff. What sport would you compete in if you were in the Olympics?
You talking Summer Olympics or Winter Olympics?
Either one.
Do it matter?
No.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why water polo popped in my head. I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, get
Maybe
out there
water
in the water.
polo. Yeah, maybe water polo. I don't know because I
Hey,
think I move more gracefully in the water than I do on land. So you know,
okay.
maybe
Since you
that.
since you said that, since you said that, what animal, if you know, if you could come back as any animal, what would it be?
Um, Man, that's a tough one because I've been looking up I think it's called the harpy eagle,
Okay.
like either the harpy eagle or the honey badger.
Really?
Like,
Okay.
man, hey man, that honey badger, he don't play.
No,
He
you
or
don't.
she, they don't play. They doggone, they go. If you're a male, they go for your pride and joy.
There you go.
So they don't play.
All right. What fictional family would you be a member of if you could?
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay.
I think that's a tough one, man. You coming with the heat? You coming with the heat, man? I think it'd probably be. Dang, that's a tough one. Man, you got me with that one.
I mean, you got the Huxtables, you got the Winslows, you know, so many.
Man, I think dang it. You know what? You remember the show? You remember the show on Nickelodeon called My Brother and Me?
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah, like that family, they seem kind of cool.
Okay.
So I'd probably go with the family of my brother.
Okay.
And
So if you could change places with anyone in the world, who would it be and why? Or would you?
probably Andre 3000.
Really?
Probably change places with. Yeah. I mean that's my I don't want to say my idol, but that's like one of the people like I had pattern how I rapped or whatever after him. So I mean he just seemed like an interesting person. Like
Definitely.
think about it, like this dude after Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, this dude went on a, I guess you could say he did his second virginity. So he went like I think a year without having sex. He grew his dreads out or his locks out. They say call them locks now. I guess they said dreads are offensive, but he grew his locks out. He stopped. He didn't. I don't think he smoked or drank for a whole year, or I don't know how long it was. So he was just trying to find himself. And I thought, like when I was in college, when I read that, I was like, wow, I tried something like that. For like half a semester for a semester in college, and I was on the AB honor roll when I did that. So I just find it like he's just an interesting person, very creative and whatnot. So I'd say like I switch with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope. I didn't know that, but thank you for letting me know.
No problem.
What was your least favorite childhood chore? Like, I need you to go out here and do this. You're like, man, no, why? Why do I have to do it of all people?
I didn't like cutting the grass. I'm not gonna lie. Like my little brother, like he used to love him and my pops. They used to get out there in the yard and cut grass all day. Me, I'd rather. At the time, I'd rather do the house chores like dust, sweep, do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I used to hate going outside because the grass was itchy and the gnats used to fly around you and bite you and whatnot. I wasn't cool. I'd get out there and do it in a heartbeat now. But back then, that was my least favorite chore. I didn't like going outside and cutting the grass or raking the leaves or anything like that.
Okay. If there was going to be a movie made about your life, who would you want to play you?
Project Pat. People say I look, when I was growing up, people was like, man, you look like Project Pat. All you need is the gold teeth. So, I guess Project Pat.
Okay then. What would be the title of your autobiography?
What would it be? I don't know. I guess it would. I usually use a hashtag Job season because, like
Okay.
in the Bible, how there was this man named Job, and like the enemy told God, "I bet you Job will turn on you," and he was like, "Nah, he won't." And so basically, Job his family. Oh, what happened?
This thing is we're good. So last thing I heard you say was Job.
Okay,
And
so okay, yeah, he lost everything, and then basically, but he never, cursed God. Like he always had faith in him or whatever. And I think that's one thing. Like you gotta keep on living. Like I say, you just gotta keep on living and whatnot. Like, the experiences with my daughter and personal experiences and whatnot, I could have gave up like a long time ago. And sometimes I still do feel like giving up. It's human emotion. But
yeah.
every day that sun come up is another chance for you to to do something positive. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I say jokes easy.
Okay. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Hmm. I say either peanut butter M&Ms or or maybe chicken wings.
Okay.
I know like most people would say money or something like that, but I love me some M&Ms. I love me some chicken wings. I can't lie.
Gotcha.
Shoot.
All right, just a few more questions for you on this. If you were stranded on a desert island and could only have three things with you, what would it be and why?
Well, I think water would already be in there, but okay, like I that's a tough one. I don't know. It's like I gotta have some type of music.
Okay.
So just because like I grew up in a household like my pops had like a shelf full of vinyl albums. So like that's all we used to listen to was just music and
Mm-hmm.
all the time. So music, um, I gotta say I gotta say maybe the Bible.
Okay.
Lord knows I need to pick it up and read it more. But yeah, that and shoot, I don't know what the third thing would be. Would it be some type of food? Um, I don't know. I don't know what the third thing would be.
You think about
So like,
survival.
um, yeah, some type of food, maybe chicken wings. I don't know. Maybe
You
the
gonna have
chicken
your
wings.
chicken wings.
Yeah, you gotta have some chicken wings. Like, shoot, do something like that.
Are you a drums or a flats person?
Man, shoot, man, I'm either one, but I have to like I eat it's crazy because I eat the flats first, and
Okay.
then I eat the drums. I'm a picky eater, so like if you got macaroni, greens, and fried chicken, I'll eat the macaroni, I eat the greens, and then I eat the fried chicken. I don't mix my food, so I eat everything from not saying least the greatest, but I just eat
Stuff that you want to go
everything.
ahead and get out the way and then go to the
Yeah,
good stuff. Yeah, I get
yeah.
it. I got you. Um, if you could choose to be one age forever, what age is that and why?
17
17. Okay.
because 17 because that was to me that was like a good year in my life. Um, that would be a year if I could go back. Um, I'd go back then because if I knew then what I know now, I'd go back then and do things a lot differently. So yeah, 17.
Okay. If you could have dinner with one person or two people that is no longer with us or that is here with us, that is famous or not famous, who would that be and why?
Mm-hmm. So you coming with the real. Um, I guess one of the people would be King David.
Really?
Yeah, that man, that man, he made so many mistakes. But the difference between like me and him, like fest, he he showed. But I've been going through this whole thing, this masculinity thing. Like he was a true definition, along with Jesus, but he was a true definition of how men can experience depression. But like at the same time, talking about their depression or whatnot, he never gave up faith. So it'd be nice to, have sit down and talk to him. And shoot, I don't know, probably my grandma on my mom's side, because like I wasn't even thought of when she passed away. I don't, So, and my mom, she was a firecracker, according to my mom. She was like 4 foot, nothing, but she'll throw hit you with a broomstick. But like they say, she was the most loving woman in the world. So probably, just to sit down and talk to her and just learn more about my family on my mom's side.
Okay. If extraterrestrials landed on the earth and offered to take you with them to their land, would you go?
Do I have to provide them with gas money? I don't know.
Bro, if they got here, I don't think they need gas money.
I don't know. I guess maybe. I mean, it's a big world out there. So many doggone solar system, solar systems, or
Galaxies
it's
and
just big. There's
multiverses, yeah.
so many galaxies and yeah. So like, why not? It's funny. I was just talking about that to with a person today about like how big the universe is, and that's interesting. Like, it's beautiful when you like see the satellite pictures or whatnot of these different planets and the different moons and stuff like that. It's a beautiful place. So yeah, I ride with them, and we probably get there in a heartbeat too.
Dude, exactly.
So, mm-hmm.
The last two questions for you. What would your campaign slogan be if you were running for office?
I'll say what the famous bodybuilder Randy Coleman used to say, nothing but a peanut. That would be my slogan.
Nothing but a peanut?
It's hard. It ain't nothing but a peanut. Nothing but a peanut.
Oh my God.
I'll probably say, yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. So it'll probably be that.
Okay. Last question for you, Sully. Then I'll open up the floor if you have any questions for me. What was some of the best advice that you've ever been given? And then what is some of the worst advice that you've ever been given?
Some of the best advice that I ever got, I think it was two of them. One of my old college roommates, one time he said, when I was having like girl trouble, he said, he had told me, he was like, close your eyes and imagine this. So I had closed my eyes, and he was like, did you ask yourself this question? Did you do everything in your power to make things work? And he was like, if the answer is yes, that's all. That's all you can do. And then I'll never forget my other college homeboy. He was like, investigate before you invest. So whether it be stocks, bonds, whether it be banks, whether it be you buying a new house, like whether it be a relationship, you got to investigate before you invest. So that way, when you invest in the person, you won't be caught up. You won't be caught by surprise because you did your due diligence. I think the worst, the worst advice that I got was, it was one more. It was one more.
Okay.
I had my homeboy tell me, because when I was dating at the time, he was like, "Why do you settle for second place when you can have first?" And so I was like, you're right. You doggone right. So I think the worst piece of advice I ever got was shoot, I don't know about that one. I'm pretty sure it was a lot, but yeah, it was I don't know. When your parents say, which I'm kind of guilty of that, I need to stop. When it was like, when you move from under my roof, you can do whatever you want to. Yeah, that's not good advice, right? That's not good advice right there. Don't say that to your kids, man. Like, because they take that. I remember that stuff. I was like, oh, I'm living by myself. I'm gonna do this and that and bring this person over and stuff like that. You catch a lot of hell by doing that. So, that right there was a bad piece of advice. So if you're a parent, don't say that.
Gotcha.
Don't say that.
It's amazing the things that we say that we heard our parents say that we were subjected to, and some of it was kind of bad advice, but some of it was, things that we didn't listen to back then, and now you wish that you had, because if you did, it would be in a different position, that kind of thing. So,
and if you're able to, blessed enough to talk to your parents, you always say, you're right. You was right about that. You know what I'm saying? I said that many a times. I was like, see, I told you.
Good stuff, Sully, man. This was nice, and I hope that you enjoyed, like the new questions. As I was telling Eddie, I got a whole lot of questions just to ask, keep the show fresh and interesting, and in turn get people to, learn about the community and people that make it up, things like that. So awesome. Do you have any questions for me before I let you
go? I noticed that you have a fresh glow on your face since you moved from Georgia to Arizona. You seem like you're being blessed and you're having fun. And are you glad that you stepped out on faith and moved? And I know you don't regret it, but do you see a change, like a positive change? Like, his weight's been lifted off of your shoulders since you made the move.
Yes. I can finally be the Ashley that I always knew that I could be, but was scared to be.
Yep.
When you have to depend on yourself to do things, you find that you're more capable of doing things than people give you credit for. And when you realize that, you're able to kind of release and let go of the BS and focus on what's really important, and I am a lot happier. I feel like I'm back in high school, that happiness that I had, back in high school, just learning and growing positively and things like that, It's a good thing.
No doubt.
I wish there was a little bit more moisture in the air, though, because the way my sinus is set up, honey, I miss trees. I miss trees so much, but yeah, it's all right. I miss my family, though. I can't say I miss my family that's in Georgia. Like my mom and my sister and my niece and my aunts and uncles. But I think on the grand scheme of things, they understand, and I'm really happy that
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I told you before, like one of the best piece of advice I had got, which now I don't know why I was saying this now, but
it's okay.
it was from like a sports radio station, and the person was like, "There's a certain percentage of people who won't move more than 15 minutes away from their birthplace," and then he was like, he said, "Pack your stuff up, see the world." It was like, which of course social media has made the world shrunk. It's shrinking because we can message each other, whatever, but it's a big world, like a lot of opportunities. So, and that's why I was very happy when I heard that you stepped out on faith. So I'm happy for you. I'm very happy for you. I can tell that there's more of a positive change. You got more of a positive aura, and there's no situation and no circumstance that can hold you back now. So congratulations on your newfound freedom. And I know that it's just, as they say in battle rap, it's upstairs from here. So congratulations.
Thank you, Sully. You're one of those people that, when I was going through my issues, you're one of the people that I kind of confided in. So it means a lot coming from you, to hear that and things like that. And um, yeah, just gonna do my best, man. Not perfect by any means, but I'm just gonna do my best to provide a good life for my children. Yeah, just making sure that I take care of my children to the best of my abilities, be able to take care of myself to the best of my abilities. Because if I'm not well or if I'm doing bad, then they will too. So, and just showing them that resilience is key to life and adaptation. You have to be able to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's it, man. Anything else? Or you?
Um, shoot. Nah, I just telling my I love the SFL. I love the vision. I love the teams. I love my team. Um, what I'm saying, I love the presentation of everything. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon, Lord willing.
Good.
So, and basically, I'll just shout out to the whole nation and whatnot. I appreciate everything, like the fans that we have, whatnot, and the freaking locker room that we have. Like they're a great group of people, and I really appreciate them.
Indeed, man. Much love and much respect to you and your coaching staff, your crew, your team. I believe that you guys can turn it around. And just keep your heads up and keep your spirits high, Rain don't last for too long. So. All right, brother. I will see you very soon. I appreciate your time.
All right, no doubt.
All right. See you soon.
See you.
And that is it. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Special shout out goes out to Moose, John, Sully, and Mark for being on the show. I cannot wait to bring you another great show next week, y'all. But until then, stay safe, treat each other well. Striker out.